Gentlemen, welcome back to the channel. This is Jack Graham. I'm a realtor in Las Vegas, and today I'm going to be talking to you about home prices, where I see home prices going in the future. I'm also going to give you an explanation of why I think home prices are going in the direction that I think they're going, and also we're going to be talking about nominal values of a home, so the house price based on the value of the dollar versus the real value of a home. And it's a very interesting topic that I don't really mention as often on my channel, but I do need to reiterate because it makes a big difference on why I think home prices are going in a certain direction. And then last thing I want to cover is also the Federal Reserve, the government, how they intervene with inflation and with printing, money, and how that affects the value of a home as well as the price of a home that you're purchasing today. And also at the end of the video, I'm going to go over what I think, you should do depending on your situation and whether or not you should buy a home in today's market, or maybe you should hold off. Maybe it's not the right time for you. So I have these conversations very often with my clients, and I want to share it on YouTube, maybe to those of you who are not my clients and, could see if you can find some value into this. Anyway, let's get started. I'm going to be shrinking right here. We're going to go over, first of all, home prices adjusted by inflation. Okay. First of all, home prices, what is the nominal value of the home versus the real value of the home? Nominal value of the home. So obviously we measure the price of a home in dollars, right? But the value of the dollar changes depending on inflation. And as you know, right now, we do have a lot of inflation. This inflation is devaluing the dollar. So in order to buy a product, buy bread, buy milk, or whatever it is in a store, or even buy a home, it takes more dollars as inflation, eats up the purchasing value of your home or whatever of the products that you're purchasing. So what does that mean is that when you're purchasing a home, yes, you're paying more, for example, compared to a long time ago, let's say 20, 30 years ago. But that's not necessarily because the house now is worth more, because the house has changed in value. It's just because the dollar has devalued over time. Okay. So if you look at just the value of the homes, right? So adjusted per inflation, okay, we have, this is the orange line that you see right in front of me. That is the value of homes adjusted per inflation. And as you can see right here, this data, it's pretty old. It probably is not as accurate, but you can see, it kind of changes over time. It goes up and down. Even over here, when we have more accurate data, which is more recent, ever since 1970, which is around this time right here, you see home prices go up, they go down. Home prices go up, they go down. 2008, the big bubble, up and go down, and now we're up. Okay, this is what the real value of a home is, adjusted per inflation. Now, the way they measure inflation is also a big problem, but I'm going to go over that. I'm going to go more into detail about this on my second channel. So if you haven't done so already, check out the link down in the description. I'm going to have my second channel there. So subscribe to the channel if you want to see a more detailed video about this topic, about real home values and all, and how the Federal Reserve and the government are really robbing the middle class and, are making home prices go up so much. I just don't want to cover on this main channel because obviously it's more of a niche, and not many people are really interested and can really follow that thought process. Anyway, let's get back to the video. I'm going to try to keep it as simple as possible in this video so that everybody can understand. Home prices, home values, okay, they go up and down, up and down. However, you see this blue line right here? This is home prices in dollars, which means after inflation, this is how much you're going to pay for a house. And if you see in the last 100 years, home prices haven't shifted much. They've only been going up. Even right here in the 1970s, they slowed down, but they kept going up. Home prices keep going up. And the reason why behind this is because home prices are It's just the price, the tag of the price of the house. But it doesn't mean that it's adjusted for inflation. Once you put the inflation into the equation, you see home prices actually go down in a recession. Just like over here, you see the 1979 right here. This is when they increase interest rates up to 18%. What happened to home values? The home values went down. Look at the 1989. We had a big recession over here. Prices went down. Well, no, sorry, values went down. But if you look at during these recessions right here, home prices actually kept stabilized and kept going up. Right here in 1989, just a slight little drop and then back up. The only time when we had prices drop, and this is the nominal value of the home, is in 2008. Obviously because of the lending standard that we had back then, where people would just get a loan, that people that couldn't afford a loan could just walk into a bank. They didn't need a job. They didn't need any income. They didn't need any assets. They didn't need anything. As long as you could fog a mirror, you can get a loan back in 2005 and 6, which caused this bubble in home prices. Prices would go up. And then eventually, when prices started going down, because people realized that, hey, prices are probably not gonna stay up, they're gonna go down. We had a bunch of foreclosures, the whole banking system collapsed because the homes weren't backed up by healthy buyers. Now that's not the case today. We don't have that today, and we didn't have that before either. It was a scenario that was back in 2008. And that's where a lot of people tend to kind of mix up, saying, oh, prices went up last time in 2000. Prices went down last time in 2008. Prices are going to go down today as well. And this is where my thesis come in. I know there are a lot of people that don't agree with me out there that comment most often thinking that prices are going to come down. But I believe home prices are going to level out and keep going up, just like they did back in 1980, just like they did in 1989 and in 2000. They're going to keep going up. However, they're going to slow down, maybe a little bit of a dip, and then keep going back up. That's the price. Now, that doesn't mean the value of a home is going to come down. So right here, the value of the home I think is going to come down. We're going to have something of this magnitude, I think, where you see these two dip down. So you'll have something like this come down and then go back up eventually. That's what I think is going to happen to home values. Now that we put together that distinction, let's break down why this happens and why we have home prices still going up even though the value of the home is going down. We have right here, this is actually something I wanted to cover after. So let's go over the current money in circulation. So this is the currency that we have in circulation. And you look at this, billions of dollars is the units. We have $2,279 billion in circulation, which means that's $2.279 trillion that are in circulation. Okay, that's as of September 2022. Okay, this is how much money the governments print and put into circulation. Okay, I mean, you look at this chart, it looks a lot like this is actually from the early 1900s right here. We are 1917 all the way until 2022. Look at this blue line and look at the blue line of home prices. That looks pretty close to me right there. You see that? With the exception of 2008. Like if we get rid of this extra bubble right here that we had in 2008 because of the loan issues that we had, literally continue this chart right here, this will be exactly like the money that they printed in circulation, or very close to it. Now look at the federal debt. This is the amount of debt that the government has. Very similar right there. You see, it's just an exponential growth chart. It's just the way it is, because governments have been accustomed to printing money over time. And the reason why, there are many reasons why. I'm going to cover that on the second channel. So again, subscribe to that second channel. That way I'll do a video more into detail with this, where I can cover more the niche things, right? But pretty much governments print money in circulation, which increases the prices of things, because the purchasing power of the dollar goes down. So if before you could buy bread with $1, now you need $5, $20 to buy bread. Versus back in the 1940s, you can need $1. And I'm just throwing a number out there. I'm sure it's a different amount, but what you get the gist of it, right? What I'm trying to get to. So pretty much we've adjusted per, if we adjust per inflation, you'll see that values are going to come down most likely. And then if we adjust it, if we just look at the price of the house, I think we're going to do something like this, but it's just going to happen right here. So you're going to have some kind of level off, and then eventually in 5 to 10 years, whatever time that might take, you'll see another exponential growth. Because the only thing that is now taming down the prices from going up is literally just the interest rates going up. So with that said, let's look at what happened with the interest rates back in 1980 and compare it to today. Let's see what happened. So 1980, we have, that was that chart that I showed you right here. You see, this is the average 30-year fixed rate mortgage, okay, that you get on a house. All right. And if you see here, back in 1971, the interest rate on a house was 7.3%. Okay. From 7.3%, we had increase in interest rates going up. 1975 was up to 10% almost. Okay. And then from there, slow down inflation towards the end of the 1980s. We saw Paul Volcker, which was at the time the Federal Reserve, chairperson, right? And he increased interest rates in 1980 all the way up to 18% for an interest rate mortgage. Okay, for a mortgage interest rate. Now, he didn't do it directly. He did it through, increasing the Federal Reserve, baseline and all. But at the end of the day, he was the person that caused interest rates to go up all the way in 1981. So we had interest rates increasing from 7% in 1970 all the way up until 1981. We had interest rates up at 18%. What did this do to home values? Home values and also to home prices. So we look at that chart again. We look at 1971 right here. We look at home prices. They were right here. They went up all the way until even during rising interest rates, home prices still went up. Now, they did crash eventually in 1979 because interest rates were too high. So we saw home value go down, but home prices stay up and continue going up. Now, I believe that's going to be the same scenario where home prices will continue, maybe level off, maybe go down a little bit in the short term, but eventually in the long term going up. Unless something happens where the government stops printing money and we don't have as much currency in circulation. In that case, I can see home prices go down. Okay. But up until I see that and they don't start, decreasing the amount of money that is in circulation, creating inflation, I don't think anything is going to happen. Prices will continue to do the chart that they've been doing. And so far, there's no signs that they're going to change that because they don't do that. That's what governments do in history. You look at any government, they keep printing money. Anyway, let's not get into too much detail with this. Let's move on what my prediction will be here. Interest rates, you saw interest rates went up right here all the way until 1981. And then after 1981, we saw interest rates going down ever since then, going all the way down to what we had back in 2020, right? Because of, the pandemic that we had, we went down to 3% mortgage rates, 2.87. I've seen mortgages as low as 2.25 for VA loans, for example. So we had interest rates very, very low back then. And interest rates have gone up, which is causing in the short term a correction even in the price of the home. And most likely the value of a home. In order to buy a home, it's the value is going down. It's going to cost you less if you're going cash, right? Now, we covered the interest rates, right? And we saw what happened here, and you compare it here with the prices, after that, because they tamed down home prices here when they were printing money. They tamed them down by rising interest rates so much. But then eventually, once they decrease interest rates, you see home prices, kept going up right here, okay? And that's what I think is going to happen. In the short term, we're going to see it level out, something like this. but then we're going to see that push going up as they drop interest rates again in the future, where home prices are going to keep going up. So in my opinion, if you're buying here right now, you have a lot of room to go up in the future if they keep printing money. So now, I'm not a financial advisor. I can't see the future. This is a video I'm just doing it for what I'm seeing and what I am considering when I'm purchasing a home, or when my client purchases a home. If they're in it for the long term, they'll be fine, because especially if you can leverage a 30-year mortgage at a fixed interest rate, and you lock in the price of the home today, in the future, the price of the home most likely will be higher, and you can pay it off with a higher income that you'll be getting, because inflation is going to be going up. So based on that income, you'll be able to pay off the price of the home that you have today later on in the future. Anyway, that's my take, and that's what I think people should do, at least if you're in it for the long term. And if you plan on living into a house, right now is the right time, because you have to get into something, because otherwise you go and try to rent something, rents are going up at $200-$300 a year in rent prices. So not locking something in right now is very risky if you're renting versus buying. Okay, now we saw the money circulation, how it just went up like crazy. This was 2020. We went from 1.8 million to 2.2 million. That's over a 35-40% money printing that they did, which makes me think that home prices will go up by 40%. Obviously, these prices are going to be adjusted with the interest rate, because depending on the interest rate, how much people can afford, but it'll also be adjusted by inflation. So that's where we're at, and that's why I think what are we trying to get out of this? Okay, you have to separate the two things. Just because home prices back in 2013 were a quarter than what they are right now, it doesn't mean that home values have gone up, or they have gone, but it doesn't mean that necessarily now the house is not worth that much in dollars. Okay, because you're measuring it with dollars, and dollars, the value of the dollar is going down over time as they print more money. Okay, so you can't get stuck on the old prices. You have to understand inflation. You have to understand how it works. Just like a loaf of bread would cost you 20 cents, 20 years ago. Now it costs you $1.50, right? It's the same thing. And it's the same thing for a real asset, which is a house, which protects you against inflation. It's a really good asset to hold when in highly inflationary environments. So my take on this, if you're looking to purchase a home for the long term, if you're a home buyer and you need to lock in something, if you're renting right now and you need to live somewhere and you don't have a house, you want to be in a house to lock in a 30-year fixed interest rate loan that will protect you against inflation. If you're renting, get it. If you're a first-time home buyer, you're trying to get into something, maybe you live with your parents or something, lock something in right now and ride the wave, ride the roller coaster, right? But then eventually in the future, once you're done, you're going to be fine. Now, when you're riding the roller coaster, don't jump off. Don't sell when things get tough. You have to keep staying on it, and you'll be fine at the end. And if you're an investor, however, then that is different. I'm sure a lot of you guys have already a home. You're locked in for 30 years. You don't have to worry about your price, your living expenses going up due to inflation. Actually, your income goes up with inflation. So you might be able to pay off that mortgage, where before it used to be, I have a $1,200 mortgage, or whatever, a $2,000 mortgage. Now the same house would cost me $3,000 to live in a house, but I have that mortgage locked up. And your income is going up, and maybe from $60,000 it went up to $80,000, $100,000. It is a lot easier to pay off that mortgage now with the higher income that you have. So you're good with that. You don't have to worry about that. Now, if you're an investor, however, what you're looking at is your return on investment. So if you're a cash buyer as an investor, you might want to wait it out a few months and see what happens with interest rates. As soon as interest rates start going down, that they flip and they start bringing down interest rates, that might be the time for you to buy and buy cash. If you're buying with a loan and you're locking a 30-year interest rate, probably doesn't matter as much, because at the end of the day, the renter is paying for your mortgage. As long as it cash flows, it's fine. But you can also wait it out a little bit. So it really is a case-by-case scenario, whether you're an investor, a first-time home buyer, someone is trying to move. If you're trying to move from one house to the other one and you have to sell one to get into the other one, it's probably not a good time for you, especially if you have a 30-year mortgage at 3%. And you're trying to get into a new mortgage at 7.5%, which is what we have today. I mean, it doesn't really make sense to do that. You might sell at a good, right now and get a certain amount of money, maybe, a little bit less than what you would get this summer, but still sell at a good price to get into a new home. Probably not a good idea. But if you are looking to buy for your first time, it's probably still a good time. You can lock in a 30-year fixed rate as long as you're comfortable with the payments. That's my take. Okay, you guys take what you want out of this video, but I wanted to share this with you guys because it's really important. When people ask me, a lot of haters in the comments, they say, "Oh, of course you're a realtor. You're just trying to sell homes and all of that." And I understand. It's understandable. I'm a realtor. It's true. I have a bias, but I want to share with you, even with you guys that don't believe in what I believe. I want to show you the reasons why I think home prices will not go down. And this is the main reason why. Not because home values won't go down. There might be a better opportunity to purchase in the future. However, home prices, I don't believe they're going to go down. That's just the way it is. Now, they have been going down about 10%, but I'm saying regardless of the waves of the roller coaster we're going to go through, in the long term, I'm thinking they're going to go down. We're not going to have a 2008 crash again because mortgage standards are different. But that's my personal take. This is not financial advice. If you're a client of mine, I'm not telling you, hey, this is what it is, because I can't predict the future. This is me just talking to a screen right now, a computer screen. But I don't know how many people are actually going to watch this video. If you do find this video helpful, let me know down in the comments. Really appreciate it. If you want to go more into detail about this stuff and you value this stuff, let me know also down in the comments. And subscribe to the second channel, which is going to be linked down there. I want to know your guys' opinion. What do you think? What do you think about what I shared with you? Do you think this is logical or not? Am I just being a sales agent trying to sell homes, or is there some truth in what I'm saying, right? And share your thoughts down there, because I always read those comments. And I appreciate you staying until the end. If you've done so, if you haven't done so already, hit that like button, subscribe to the channel, subscribe to the second channel, and I'll see you guys on the next one.